This is Josiah Plays Tyranny. We're in the middle of having a long conversation with Verse, our first party member. I like Verse a lot. You think there's going to be a massive expansion pack for this game? I hope so. That would be fantastic. I love expansion packs. I love DLCs that are like big and meaty and contain a lot of stuff you can do, rather than just like little bitty short DLCs. What do you want to know? Tell me about the voices of Narat. He's a madman, but that never stopped me from following his orders. Even in a legion as cutthroat as the chorus, you know better than to get on the voice's bad side. People who cross him, or just people he meets, don't tend to survive the experience. If he ever seems disorganized or lost, it's because he's channeling one of the personalities he's devoured over the years. His mannerisms shift over to someone else, someone who's probably long since dead. So Voices of Narat has the ultimate multiple personality disorder. Better to die than become part of the voices. Through powers you can't begin to understand, the Voices of Narat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. You know this happened often during the campaign against the Tears. What he gains from this ability, beyond his apparent madness, is anyone's guess. You know better than to ask him about it directly. Yeah, the livestock aren't too thrilled with her either. Well, they did say they're hoping to make multiple games with this IP in this world. Assuming this one does reasonably well in sales. I'm sure there will be a Tyranny too. Because, I mean, they designed a whole new IP for this. A whole world with a history and factions and characters and locations and, you know, all that. So, I think they'd want to make more games based on that IP if they can. So, I don't think they intended for you to deal with Kairos in any way in the first game. I think Kairos is meant to be a far-off, distant, mysterious figure that maybe you interact with in some way in the second or third game. Maybe probably the second game. They probably wouldn't hold it off for a third game because they might not really make a third game. But I think they're planning to make a second game of this if, you know, it does enough sales or whatever. They are making Pillars of Eternity too. They've basically announced that. They haven't officially announced it, but they've hinted at it so much in such obvious ways that they, you know, they are. What happens when the voices consume someone with multiple personality? Oh my god. That would be crazy. That would be meta. That would be like personalityception right there. What makes the Voices of Narat so powerful? He's the Archon of Secrets, and he didn't earn that title lightly. People say that he knows more than every sage in the Tears combined, and that he can think 1,000 steps ahead of the other Archons. Yeah, it makes you wonder, why isn't Voices of Narat in charge, then? Sage. One of the longest surviving schools of magic in the Tears, the School of Ink and Quill is a venerable institution devoted to the acquisition and preservation of knowledge, at least until I burned their whole library down. Or so the sages profess. Putting more of their energy toward amassing knowledge than disseminating it, they began their scriptorium in 17 TR, and through a series of incremental expansions, the structure became the Vellum Citadel, only to be known as the Burning Library after Kairos' Edict of Fire, that was me, brought ruination in 430 TR. Not all sages know magic, but those that have mastered the guild's traditional spells can employ magic of protection and preservation. It is a poorly kept secret that the sages have gradually acquired a wide array of magic practiced by rival mage guilds over the generations. So the School of Ink and Quill is one of the magical factions in the game. Think 1,000 steps ahead. That's a lot of steps, as I said earlier. It would be putting it lightly to say he's never alone under that disapproving helmet of his. If you make secrets your business, I guess having people constantly whisper in your ear is a good thing. I usually want people to shut up, but to each their own. Tell me about the fifth eye. A walking nightmare, that one. I couldn't begin to guess who lives under that armor and speaks with that reedy voice, but I'll tell you what I know. When your world is built on secrets, it pays to have a few extra eyes. The Voices of Nerat has eyes in abundance, some that he keeps close, and others that he sends out in the wilderness. Whoever the fifth eye was before he came into the Archon's service, now he's just a half-mad, jabbering speech hole. Shut your speech hole. A bodily function. In other words, an eye. But wait, you don't use your eye. Your eye isn't a speech hole. How is he a mouth and an eye? Yeah, I don't think he necessarily has complete control over all those minds. Exactly. Sado. Wait, Nerat's eyes are people? Maybe they used to be people. Whatever they were, they're eyes now. Folks like to whisper that the Voices of Nerat takes his servants and cuts out all the extra parts that they don't need. She makes a quick, snipping gesture with her fingers. I once heard the Voices and the Fifth Eye in a tent together. The Voices kept screaming, "Redundancies! Redundancies!" Every time another gout of blood would spray on the canvas walls. I can't even guess what he was cutting out. Wow, that's pretty grim. That makes the Voices of Nerat sound really fucking scary. How many eyes does the Archon of Secrets have? The number keeps changing, either because it grows or because rumors don't mean shit. 3, 7, 19. Some even say that all of us are eyes and we don't even know it. She shakes her head in thoughtful disapproval. It's one of those questions that drives you mad if you allow yourself to think about it for too long. Hey, you could be one of Tunon's eyes. Bet you never thought of that. I didn't. You're right, I never thought of that. The eyes are like the Unsullied then? Maybe so, yeah. Like, I wonder if they're saying that he can literally see through their eyes. Probably so. Back to my other questions about the Scarlet Chorus leaders. Tell me about the gang bosses. A boss is anyone who can rally enough support to kill the previous boss. They cling to command until someone gets wise and stabs them in the back. Tipcap leads the Filthy Lambs. Lox leads the Rusted Harps. Sharp used to lead the Bone Boys. Couldn't say where he ended up after they broke his legs. So this is where they start to really remind me of something from Mad Max, the Scarlet Chorus. Waterwheel orders around the hairy hunters, hauls for shit. That's a great name. I need to know how that person got their name, hauls for shit. Hauls for shit leads the Lazy Malkins. Then Scurvy Queen, that's another good one, Finger Food, and Wild Gash collectively lead the Ladies of Perpetual Strangulation. Oh, it's ruled by a triumvirate. Wild Gash is the name of a woman. Finger Food and Scurvy Queen. Wow. See, I'm lucky I just got Verse. A relatively normal sounding name compared to some of these others. Imagine if Scurvy Queen was one of your companions. Or Wild Gash. Ladies of Perpetual Strangulation sounds like a sweet gang. I mean, that's a lot of strangulation. Perpetual, even. I'm forgetting at least a dozen more. I've even led a gang or two in my day. They never survived very long, so no point in getting attached. You led a gang? Don't act so surprised. I can crack a whip better than any of those daisies of the disfavored labor camps. But I was never that interested in the power struggle of those grunts and scabs in the middle. I wanted to stand on the top like an apex predator. Here I am. Rock you like a hurricane. Sounds like a death metal band. It totally does. You're pretty sure that David Carradine died in battle against the Ladies of Perpetual Strangulation? Maybe so. So, when I got tired of a gang, I disbanded and let the other bosses fight over the new recruits. That much amused me, at least. Some of my old mates are still alive and hanging around wherever they ended up. Back to my other questions about the Scarlet Chorus. I like your curiosity. Let me ask you about something else.
What do you need to know?
Oh, geez, I've got a whole bunch. This is the longest conversation ever. How is it that you picked up your fallen sister's weapon skills? That's been on my mind for some time, and I still don't have an explanation that fits. I have a few ideas, but... Verse frowns in deep thought. Scarlet Furies share a sort of link. It's how we coordinate our dance in the heat of battle. We don't pass messages or anything, but our emotions and intentions sync up without words. She starts worrying one of her knives. After a moment, she sighs and slaps the blade back into its sheath. So if I was a war mage or a soldier, I'd have something I could say here, but I'm not. Go on. The one thing I always knew was that I felt this connection more keenly than my sisters did. I could pick up nuances that they missed, and I could feel them from farther away. When my sisters died, I felt each of them getting yanked out of my brain like someone pulling snails from a garden, but some of their slime residue was still there. Does that make any sense? See, the fact that the Scarlet Furies have this sort of ability and they're under Voices in their rat makes me start to think, yeah, exactly like you just said, Saito, maybe similar power to the Voices. Makes me think that the reason the Scarlet Furies have that ability is because of the Voices of Nerat. Just like Graven Ash constantly is healing everybody under his command passively by his power, the Voices of Nerat could be passively giving the people in his army, at least the well-trained ones, some sort of mind-linking ability similar to what he's got. So if she was mind-linked up with her sisters and then they died, like she says here, some part of them was left behind. I'm gonna go for the fear here. I would take comfort in that. Your sisters live on in you. Your optimism is cute, Fatebinder, if singularly useless. It won't bring my sisters back, and it doesn't fix this thing in my head that I don't understand. But it makes you more of a badass, so what the problem is. No matter how you paint it, some part of my sisters broke off in me when they died, and now I'm left to deal with it. Just another day in the tears, right? I have thoughts about your combat abilities.
Do you now? Call me intrigued.
Hello, intrigued. That was a fucking dad joke right there. That was a dad joke.
You already know that I memorized the moves of my Scarlet Fury sisters. If it seems like a total mystery to me, I don't know how you could have arrived at any conclusions, but I'm open to ideas.
That's possible, Saito. It's possible. But maybe she'll be too afraid to cross me. I think my loyalty will always be higher than my fear with her, so I think it's probably, if it is something like that where she turns against you, she would probably only turn against you if she had more fear than loyalty. That'd be my guess, anyway. I can use my lore here. Oh, your talent reminds me of the Voices of Nerat. That's what we were just talking about. Alright, let's go with that. Your talent reminds me of the Voices of Nerat.
I hope I didn't hear you say that, Fatebinder, because the implication is more than either of us is prepared to handle.
She's got some... And that also would explain, maybe, if she's really strong in that, how she said that the Voices of Nerat, like, picked her out special and said that he could hear her part of the symphony of battle louder than anyone else's or something. Maybe she's got more of a natural psychic connection or psychic gift, and so she's getting more of his power or something, and he favors her more because of that or something. Lone Hero TV, how you doing? Good to see you. What's going on? Worth a buy? I would say so. If you like these kind of games, if you liked Pillars of Eternity or the old Infinity Engine games, or if you just generally like RPGs that are very text-heavy, isometric sort of role-playing games. If you like those kind of games, then I would say this is definitely worth a buy as far as what I've seen. The base version of it's only $45 as well. It's not a full-price $60 game. I think it's easy to stream this game. I'm new to streaming. I guess so. I mean, I guess it's not as easy to stream as some games would be if you're going to read everything out loud, which is what I do. You wouldn't have to do that, of course. It probably doesn't lend itself as well to streaming as like just a pure action game, like a shooter or something like that, but I don't think it presents any super special challenges for streaming.
The Voices of Nerat is a monster. We both know that Taratus has never seen a creature more despicable than him. Never mind that he's kind of my boss.
So she doesn't like the Voices of Nerat all that much. Through powers you can't begin to understand, the Voices of Nerat steals the minds and knowledge of his victims. Oh, we already read this. Yeah, a lot of people don't like slow games, and a lot of people don't like slow streamers like me. Probably why I have so few followers. Maybe the reason she froze that one time was because of the influence of the voices. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's how the voices succeed one another. They let themselves be consumed by the person to become the new voices. Ooh, that's an interesting theory, too. Think about it. He absorbs the mind of his victims.
Well, I don't want to fucking think about it. Didn't you consider for a second that the thought had occurred to me already? I've traveled with the chorus for years. I've seen what the voices can do, and it scares me, all right? The idea that everything I am could be reduced to that.
That does sound scary.
If I had that kind of power, if I could become like him, I don't know how I could live with myself. I'd rather drown myself in a camp latrine.
The voices isn't so bad. Give it a chance. Why such an aversion?
Because the voices isn't... I mean, can you even call him human anymore? Everything I am has led me to this point. I joined the chorus, fought to survive, grew stronger than I ever knew I could be.
Yeah, maybe she's being groomed to be the next voices, and she's terrified by even the thought of that. The voices in the rat could be like the Dread Pirate Roberts as well.
I never needed to steal anything that made me, me. I don't want to be better by being someone else. The Voices is stronger than anyone and terrifying enough to lead the chorus, but he's also an overgrown parasite. And someday he'll stuff himself so full of voices that he'll burst.
I'm gonna tell the voices that you said that shit about him. You don't have to become like him, just be selective.
I'm sure he had the same idea when he got started. But you know what they say about power? It's usually wielded by assholes.
I haven't heard them say that, but that does make sense.
My sisters died. Oh, you should have seen us. We were amazing together. I didn't mean to take away what made them special, but I did it all the same. And let me tell you, it felt terrible. If I lived a century, I might never figure out how to make that happen again. And more importantly, I don't want to.
Alright, so she's not a fan of that idea. What are your thoughts on the disfavored? Yeah, I know how this is gonna go. Never thought the Princess Bride would figure into this game this much, yeah? Right? There will probably be rodents of unusual size at some point. Warren of self-entitled children, so wound up in delusions of honor, they're likely to hang themselves by their own high standards. I wish they had stayed in the Northern Empire where they belonged. Then we could get some real work done in the tiers. What do you think of the leader, Graven Ash? I've seen enough of that high-minded braggart to know that he's all duty. Nothing but a charismatic, broad-shouldered scarecrow. He calls himself the Archon of War, though by the way he stalls his forces waiting for a better strategy to present itself, you'd think he's afraid of battle. You would think that someone more deserving would take Ash's mantle from him, but the disfavored have this cult of personality built around their great general. In their eyes, he can do no wrong. What about Ash's connection to his troops? Graven Ash protects. His soldiers keep harping on those words like they mean something. I don't deny that the disfavored can take a few extra lumps on the battlefield, but that only speaks to their thick-headedness. If anything, it's only true because his soldiers place that much trust in it. I've seen the power of suggestion do stranger things to people. Could that be possible? We're talking about a man who's centuries old. That answers the question about the Archons and lifespan. And wears glowing armor. You tell me. Who would you see take Ash's place? I would rather let the disfavored sort it out amongst themselves. Graven Ash is this aging figurehead of what should be a constantly changing role. The right soldier needs to grow a pair and kill the old man. Kick his cane out from under him. Remind the Legion what strength looks like. I wonder if I can end up making Verse the new Voices of Nerat and making having her end up be the regional governor or whatever. The Shrieking Eels! Yeah, maybe only some of them have lime. That's possibly true. It's hard to say. Remind the Legion what strength looks like. The Voices of Nerat changes. He's a multifaceted gem, and the Scarlet Chorus is a reflection of that beauty. If someone could rise up and strike down the Voices, any of us would follow them in a heartbeat. Interesting. I suppose you have a better idea on how to handle the disfavored forces. Of course I do. First, I'd stop babying the troops. Pain is a lesson best learned early. I'd conscript from the locals to bolster the front lines, because why waste your elite on the vanguard? Then I'd leave any misplaced ethics back in the Northern Empire. They're not helping Kairos' campaign anyway, so fuck them. Yeah, misplaced ethics, I don't like those. Excellent, you would make them more like the Scarlet Chorus. Would that be so wrong? The Chorus is accountable for itself in ways that the disfavored aren't. Our weak die, and the strong fight to keep their rank. The disfavored promote their waning bloodline, and discipline any soldier with the audacity to show their teeth. Though they'd never admit it, the disfavored need the Chorus to show them the way. Well, I do like the Chorus. Chorus is way better than the disfavored, I think. Even though they're both evil. You get the sense that versus a mother would involve throwing a number of vipers into cribs? Yeah. If the baby isn't strong enough to defeat these poisonous snakes, it doesn't deserve to live. Or maybe just having multiple kids and then making them fight each other to the death. Back to my questions about the disfavored. If we must. Do you think the disfavored have a chance to succeed in the tiers? Speaking as one of the exceptions, most of the tiersmen are pushovers. The people of Stalwart seem capable enough, though I have my doubts. You might call them the disfavored's best challenge. Even if they succeeded, it might be too late to redeem themselves. The chorus have already impacted the conquest more than the disfavored have, or likely ever will. What are your thoughts on their battle strategies? They've really got something with that phalanx maneuver. A formation built on holding still, moving forward slowly, and hoping that no one slips in the mud. At best, the disfavored are tired of using the same tactic over and over again. At worst, the enemy knows what to expect out of them. Babies crawling around with knives strapped to their back? Yeah, I could see that. Scarlet Furies are dancers. We hear the music of battle and organize ourselves into works of killing art. Every fight is as hot and passionate as the last, with no room for stale routine. That does sound a lot cooler. It really does. Let me ask about something else, if we must. What do you think of those who defy Kairos' authority? I'm asking this question for a reason. This is like, we're starting to feel her out for my possible rebellion later. The Tearsmen can either fight or submit to Kairos' peace. And only one of those options captures my interest. I suppose I appreciate when they go down fighting. If they did otherwise, I would need to find another excuse to flay them. Pretty evil. They need to understand. Whether we unify the Tears under a shared banner or at the bottom of a mass grave makes little difference to you, me, or Kairos. See, that's where she's wrong, because it does make a difference to me. Her and Kairos, sure, maybe not, but it does make a difference to me. That's an interesting view of the conquest. It's a pragmatic one, anyway. The Scarlet Chorus caught on to the idea at the beginning of the campaign. If no one objects that we're here to carve a bloody path for gain and amusement, then by all accounts, that is our purpose. Besides, unification is such a vague concept that Kairos allows the disfavored and the chorus to interpret it as they will. The Overlord is concerned with results. I'm happy to focus on the details, especially if that means cutting off a farmer's legs while his family watches their land burn. She smiles at a pleasing memory. That's her happy place. That's the memory she would think about to create a Fae. Yeah, Nox says except that most of the Scarlet Chorus get destroyed in a fight, so they have to keep getting fresh blood in. Yeah, it said they have huge... Well, that's what's happening on the screen, but remember, role-playing wise, I was having this whole conversation during the 3-hour walk from the ruins to the... So, in my headcanon, that merchant isn't actually standing there listening to this conversation. She smiles at a pleasing memory. Man, cutting off a farmer's legs while his family watches their land burn. And that's her pleasing memory. I can just see her there smiling as she thinks about it as she kind of looks upward. Like, yes, beautiful times, beautiful times. She's a pretty sick fuck, isn't she? But again, manipulator. I'm gonna let her think that I'm on her side here. No shame in taking pleasure in your work. No, there isn't. Fatebinder, I suspect that we're going to make something great together. A line of bodies stretching as far as the old walls. It's going to be beautiful. She looks at you with renewed interest. Did you fight at any notable battles? I spent some time in Azure toward the end of the war. Beastmen ripped my unit apart. We thought they might be working under Cairn's orders, but we never found out for sure. Let's change the subject. By all means, let's. I'm going to save the game before I do number 6 here. I'm going to save the game in case this duel thing goes poorly. Talk to her about the duel.
At your service, Fatebinder.
Ah, she said that because loyalty's a 3. She bows with an added flourish. That's cool. She likes
what do you need?
You learned a thing or two about fighting in the Scarlet Chorus. Can't a duel?
That would be an understatement, and I thought you'd never ask. Since you're obviously at a huge disadvantage, I'll let you pick our weapon of choice.
Wait, I can't use magic against her? What the fuck kind of shitty duel is this gonna be? Merchant is now hiding behind cart. So she likes the idea of dueling. Dude, I can't beat her with knives or bows. How about bows? Let's play target practice.
If you want to risk becoming a pincushion, it's your funeral. But you're right about one thing. This will be fun.
This is gonna go badly. Oh! We're not actually dueling! She's just giving me skill points! Holy shit! Okay, well that's awesome then. She just gave me 5 ranks in bow skill, which actually I don't care about because I'm not planning to ever use bows with this character. But I'll take skill points nonetheless. I'll take them. You take turns loosing blunted arrows, using each other as moving targets. Verse is an accomplished runner and swats the few projectiles that gets close out of the air. When her turn arrives, it takes all of your energy to keep up with her relentless volley of projectiles. You observe her technique and take a valuable lesson to heart.
You held your own. Call me impressed. Need anything else, or did I tire you out?
You did kind of tire me out. Well, I guess I can't talk to her again and do the dual wield one as well,
At your service, Fatebinder. What do you need?
Yeah, it looks like we're done here. So finally, the lengthy conversation with Verse is done. For now, until we get new things to talk to her about as we go through the game, presumably. So that was pretty cool. She's a really interesting character. I like her a lot. I like her more than most companion characters from most RPGs I've played. She almost reminds me of a character from Planescape Torment. I mean, not a specific character. Well, she does kind of remind me of Anna from Planescape Torment, I guess. But she seems kind of, I don't know, in her character development and the whole conversation with her, felt almost like she could be a character from Planescape Torment. Alright. We've read the biography. We've talked to Verse. We might now actually begin to explore the disfavored camp. So, let's talk to Sterling Hagnon again now that we helped him out. Oh no, hold on. Let's go steal this shit.
That wasn't so hard.
Imperial Iron Falcata. Actually, let's see. Is this something she wants to use? Gain some armor penetration, but no, she's not going to use that. Cool looking sword though. Falcatas are cool.
On it.
Well, and presumably I could order him to, but maybe that's against the law or something, or maybe my character just doesn't want to abuse her authority that much.
Quiet down.
Let's see what's up here. Outside the stockade. What do we have here? This looks like a grave. A humble grave lies before you. A battered sword has been used as a marker.
A modest grave for the Archon's son, Brennix. We don't bother with funeral rites in the chorus. No point in thanking conscripts for their duty.
Wow, companions even have reaction text to you looking at things on the map. That's cool. So this is Graven Ash's son. The initial B deeply engraved into the iron. Graven Ash's son is dead. He's probably pretty sad about that. It says he's sad when any of his soldiers die. So he's probably even sadder about his own son. You know, I don't feel like I need to... I think I can find the hidden stuff with my high-ass my high-ass subterfuge. Even without, sneaking everywhere, probably. Alright. Jen is here! How's it going? Good to see you, Jen. How you doing? Game is called Tyranny. Yeah, there needs to be more tyranny. More tyranny needed.
Quiet down!
You're so confused? What are you confused by? You're hearing two streams. Who do we have here? Step closer and something. Identify yourself or something. What did he say? Present yourself. Always save the mages. Alright, Sterling Hagnon. Yeah, I've been saving mages, that's true. I have been doing that. Heaved up with a livestock tormentor. Yeah, you'd really like this character. We just got done going through her whole, like, long conversations and stuff, but you'd like her. Her name's Verse, and she's a complete fucking psychopath. Alright, Sterling Hagnon. Thank you for taking down the disfavored from... talking down the disfavored from doing worse. Sad times we live in when making a humble living is branded a crime. So, saving your hide was worth... Oh, well, naturally. Hagnon clears his throat, his face showing a flash of a scowl. One good deed deserves another. Well, when I have my shop up and running, I'll sell you provisions for a song, and give you a proper bounty on any odd bits of weaponry you find. Provided that, he jabs a finger at you, you keep standing up for me should those iron goons try to rough me up a second time. She made it a tent out of slaves, yeah. Tents, actually. Tents, multiple tents. You were... Oh, this is Verse talking. You were lucky with us before, merchant. Take care that you don't challenge your luck again. I love that she's got my cool little symbol that I designed there. Look at my awesome banner. It's got a red snake on it. Alright, Sterling Hagnon. When do you open your shop? Oh, right now. I guess I didn't have to wait long. He's like, when I get my shop set up, how long is that going to take me? Oh, about 3 seconds. What can I do for you? I'd like to see your wares. Oh, look, he's got Stiz off. Oh my god, that costs 9 copper. 9 bronze, I mean. Sigil of Guarded Form. And I don't have enough lore for it. It's got healing potions. Potion of Protection. That's the nasty tasting one. Potion of Elemental Barrier. Oh, we got a story about this potion. Plus 50 defense against paralyzed, burning, and frozen. Plus 10 armor against shock, fire, and frost. Potions of Elemental Barrier protect soldiers from fire, cold, and paralyzing afflictions while offering additional armor against equivalent damage. Over the course of Kairos' conquest, alchemists and apothecaries looked to local plants and herbs for the treatment of injury. As Kairos' peace settled over the Northern Empire, the priority shifted from treatment to prevention. This potion is the result of painstaking effort to anticipate any number of potential injuries and reduce otherwise deleterious, that's a cool word, effects to a nuisance from which a soldier can easily recover. This consumable's effect increases in strength as its user gains in power. That is rad. A real healing potion. Very expensive. This healing potion was brewed by a skilled alchemist, probably conscripted to serve in one of Kairos' armies. The military demand for healing potions of this quality makes them rare outside of army supplies, and all the more valuable for it. Vagrant's Chaw. Gives you plus 20 athletics. That'll be so good for athletics interactions that I can't do. A pinch of Vagrant's Chaw raises vitality and athletics and boosts the natural healing rate. Get your Vagrant's Chaw right here. Raises your vitality. Boosts natural healing. Vagrant's Chaw, good for the whole family. Thought disdained by the disfavored, most soldiers in Kairos' empire partake of the alchemical properties imbued into Vagrant's Chaw. God, that's a great name. Too much use is known to cause blisters of the mouth. Is this like chewing tobacco? Consumables effect increases in strength. Okay, alright. I need some Vagrant's Chaw in my life, but I can't afford it. Sable Root. Chewing on a stick of Sable Root raises the imbiber's resolve and delays unconsciousness. That's pretty cool. Makes you slower, though. Thought of as a weed in most of Kairos' empire, the hardy plant is virtually impossible to eradicate without salting the earth in which it grows. This very stubbornness is granted to anyone who imbibes the juices of Sable Root. Legends tell of a prisoner, supplied with Sable Root by friendly guards, who held out against the worst tortures the voices of Nerat could devise for days before breaking. So that's powerful shit. Camping supplies. A bundle of sundries including linen tarps, or are they made of human skin? Hemp rope, flint, hardtack, lantern oil, and other tools and supplies needed to build a proper shelter from the elements. Sealing potion is of fairly poor quality, built by either an apprentice alchemist or an unskilled one. Alright, and then there's also a hero's insignia, which is an accessory, makes you immune to frightened and terrified. They say that courage cannot be bought, but many a war hero has profited from gullibility. The purchase of uniform buttons and cloak pins tends to increase after high-profile battles. And we can get an Iron Walker helm, which is a really cool-looking helm. But, neither of my characters are going to wear that, I don't think. She'd lose a ton of deflection. Alright, what am I going to sell to this guy? I'm going to sell him the Falcata that I just stole off the back of his wagon. Oh, that's worth a lot of money. 5 bronze rings for that. I could get a Vagrant's Chaw now. Lesser healing potions. Let's do it. Thanks, Sterling Hagnon. Hagnon a second. Just, yes, I just. Vagrant's Chaw. Yum. Chewing that chaw. Chawing that chew.
Sorry, I can't.
What do these assholes want? They don't seem to want to let me in real badly. But there's the actual camp itself. Stone shields. The gate guard holds up a warning hand. Go no farther. You approach disfavored ground. State your business. Glare silently. Nice. I am Seraphina, Fatebinder of Tunon. I bring words from Kairos, words for your commander's ears. Ah, so you're the fire starter. Sevius and the company's returning from the burning library are telling some harrowing stories about Kairos' Edict of Fire. I think myself brave, but I'm happy to have been far away from it all. Must have been a terrifying honor to be the messenger of such righteous force. The Fire Starter, that's another title they're calling me because I did the Edict of Fire. In 430 TR, in the final year of the conquest of the Tiers, the sages of the Vellum Citadel were expected to surrender without a fight. When the sages violently defended themselves in a prolonged siege, Kairos unleashed an Edict of Fire, reducing the library fortress to smoldering ruins. You were given the honor of proclaiming this Edict of Fire, and to those present you are often known as the Fire Starter. Though your orders left it vague as to when you should proclaim the edict, you chose to give the sages a few hours' warning. The Scarlet Chorus soldiers seemed fine with your decision, claiming they had spies among the sages who deserved to escape, but the disfavored view the decision more coldly and consider it coddling the enemy. Yeah, the disfavored are assholes. With cool masks, cool helmets. Go on in. The soldier gestures toward the gate. The Archons are expecting you. You'll find them in the war tent, center of camp. And the gate's open to me. Addendum added to the Conqueror's will. The two Archons are currently meeting inside Graven Ash's tent at the north end of the camp. What's up with my formation? Oh, but I'm the one with all the detecting. All right.
Moving cautiously.
Pentabor. Who's this guy? Hail to you, guardian of the law! The man dressed in merchant finery greets you with a smile. If you've a few excess rings weighing you down, best unburden yourself before battle. You know that if the disfavored suffer a merchant in their camp, that must be a man selling only the finest provisions and armaments. He points to his collection of shields, rations, satchels, wineskins, and other sundries. Take a look and see if something interests you. Ooh, I can say something special because I'm a diplomat. Does it ever make you uneasy, representing the South in an occupier's camp? It did once, he answers with care, but that was before I got the measure of your patron Archon. Tunon speaks with fairness and wisdom. Unlike many of my countrymen, I was able to make this changing of the guard as comfortable as possible. A little treachery can be profitable, merchant. Verse jostles his wares playfully, sending him scrambling to retrieve them. He does his best to recover, unperturbed. Kairos is the right and proper authority of the realm, my lady. There's no treachery in that. Z-Man, how you doing? Good to see you. What's up, Z-Man? Feel like you're listening to a book on tape and watching a video game at the same time? Yes, at the same time. In spite of his airs of confidence, he casts a worried glance out of the corner of his eye. How did you come to work with the disfavored? Hard work and good suppliers. When Tunon's men came to my village, all the merchants were given different lists of what they were or weren't permitted to trade. He smiles, hand on hips. In Kairos' wisdom, my record must have been a good one, because I was given the right to trade in all manner of goods. Most importantly, arms. Not a lot of merchants can legally sell weapons. It was like that even before Kairos. I know that if you have, like, Noble Scion or Lawbreaker, you can actually shake this guy down or steal from him. But I don't have that option. Let me see your wares. Pentabor rubs his hands, eyes alight. Let's see if we can find something you might like. So he's got some bronze weapons, which aren't really better in any... Man, those daggers have some sick accuracy. First swords are so fast, though. That recovery time is amazing. Brotherhood Stout. Brotherhood Stout increases a soldier's hardiness against injury and physical damage, but comes at the cost of accuracy. So you get minus 10 accuracy, but you get some armor and some extra damage. Okay. Cheese. This hard cheese has crumbly texture and dull orange color. So we have confirmed that they have dairy products, Nox. They have cheese. Doesn't necessarily mean they have cows, but they have cheese. Fish. This dried fish has an odd texture and almost no smell. That's weird, a fish with no smell. Fruit. While these fruits weren't picked this morning, they still look fresh enough to eat. Grain. Grain is a staple food of the villages in the area. Mead. Loved by all in Kairos' army, this mead has a light amber color and a pleasant aroma. Gives you some might. Water skin is filled with cool, refreshing water. A sigil of frost. I want that. Spells that manipulate freezing energies. Could be goat cheese, yeah. Blood moss. Staunches any bleeding and grants the user resistance to excessive bleeding from future injuries. The scarlet moss can be packed into any bleeding wound to staunch the flow of blood. Somehow, this plant also helps prevent new wounds from bleeding. That's weird. Well, I guess it's like a coagulant or something. Alchemists argue about the cause, but none can deny the effect. Did you miss anything else horrible? Not really, no. Did Verse give her recipe for fermented beer using only the flesh of mothers and the tears of their children? No, I think I have to get her to like me better before she reveals that. Alright, so I should buy this. And this. Oh, I can't afford these right now. Never mind. So we just learned another magical sigil. I heard it do it. I want Sigil of Frost. Spending all my money, I shouldn't be doing that. Use the Sigil of Frost to drain heat and energy into the void, condensing water into frost and afflicting targets with intense cold. Long a closely held secret of the school of Boreal Frost, the mages surrendered this knowledge to Kairos after the northern general Graven Ash was defeated by the Overlord's forces. Oh, that's where that came from. Blood Moss, the Starbucks of mosses. Seriously, blood moss in every fantasy game. Yeah, I know, right? There's blood moss in The Witcher 3, I know that much. What can I make with this? I can do a Frozen Grasp, which is a touch attack, makes them frozen. Movement speed. Animation speed reduced. Crush armor reduced. That's pretty cool. Or envelop a target in harsh winter cold, leaving them frozen for a time. Or I can make a Rhyme Spike. That does a bunch of damage to somebody. Makes them frozen. And it has an AoE. Small AoE. Form a massive frozen spike of ice from the ground under a target's feet, impaling and freezing them. That's a good spell. But I mean, look how much damage it does compared to like Electric Jolt, but that stuns. I'm refusing to make a Quen spell. Yeah, there will be no Quen spell. I don't know that I want to use until I can level up some. Although maybe I should be doing one of each. Let's make a Rhyme Spike. Let's make it. Let's increase the. No, that makes it too hard to use. Let's increase the frozen time and increase the range. That makes it too hard to use. I'll go ahead and have one of each element. I can't make a Quen spell anyway. I could just name a spell Quen if I wanted to, but it wouldn't actually have anything to do with Quen. Frozen Grasp. Can't use that. Should use this. Alright, I think we're good with the spell making for now. You're fine with it being Quen in name only? Well, I'm fine with it not existing. No, because you'll never let it go. You'll never let it go. You'll bring it up a million times from now to the fucking end of salvation. End of salvation? What's that mean? I don't know what it means, but it means a long damn time. You will not stop making puns. You're lying. I'm not stupid, okay? I understand your tricks and your shenanigans and your chicanery. Alright, let's see what's going on over here. These arrows were fletched with precision and care. We've got some training grounds here. The sparring dummy shows the deep gouges of hard
I'll be your
use.
shadow.
Deep gouges. The wood used for these parapets is pristine and finely cut. These walls have yet to see any battle. These spears are uniform in their quality craftsmanship. Oh, a shield. A bronze tower shield. You know, I was thinking about trying to make Verse into more of a tank. And have her use a shield instead of, 2 swords. Like, skills-wise, she's much better at dual wield than one-handed, but if she just starts using one-handed, that'll come up in time. I'm gonna have her use a shield, even though she probably doesn't like to use one. Can you flirt with her? There weren't really any particularly flirty options in the dialogue that I had with her so far. But we kind of just met, so... Yeah, she's got that badass... Yeah, isn't her hair awesome? She is pretty much a badass. The Ladies of Perpetual Strangulation. Yeah, that's a pretty great name for a gang. What's up, Stone Shield? Our supplies are still holding up despite us sitting around on our asses for the past few weeks. I'm itching to get back on the battlefield. Are you? You're itching.
On the
huh?
lookout. Can't do that. Sorry, I can't.
They won't see me coming.
Stuff to steal, please. Stuff to steal, please.
Can't do that. Can't do that. Sorry, I can't. Sorry, I can't.
Oh, we got something here. Oh, it's locked. I think I can figure out how to open that.
That wasn't so hard.
We got some heavy leather gloves. If I wore those, I would gain some deflection and precision. But if she wore them, she would gain some deflection and precision. So she's gonna wear these. She needs the deflection more than I do, as being more of a tank. Those are her gloves. Nobody can wear them but her. Alright, we're going to talk to this Isotannis guy. The Oathbreakers already had their chance. No use in wasting cell space on traitors of Kairos. Fresh straw in the corner of this prison cell absorbs much of the stench. Much of the stench, but not all of it. Our supplies are still holding up despite us sitting around on our asses for the past few weeks. One of the lines that verse says in combat is, "I'll rip your skeleton out through your ass." Which is a pretty good line. I mean, I don't think it's physically possible, but it's still a good line. So in our next episode, we will talk to Isotannis. If you're watching the stream, I'm not done playing. I'm going to continue for many, many more hours to come. But if you're watching on YouTube, that's going to do it for this episode. So thanks for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Tyranny.